boy on the edge of manhood. He's filled with light, with wonder and longing. But above all, he's filled with love. It is a love that burns so hot and bright, and it burns so fast that soon it is fire without fuel. So it flickers first, then it falters, and finally it fades.
The aching.
Profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this.
In 1996, Baz Luhrmann gave us a Romeo for a new generation. Wide-eyed, golden-hearted, brought to life through Leonardo DiCaprio. A version so evocative, it became burned into pop culture memory. But the archetype of the star-crossed lover didn't begin there. Not with Luhrmann, not even with Shakespeare. Romeo is far older, a figure who has lived in myth, legend, and collective longing for centuries. When Shakespeare penned Romeo and Juliet, he was reaching for something already rooted deep in the human psyche. The boy who loves so fiercely, he would die rather than live without it. But who is Romeo, really? What drives him? And what does he represent? He's far more than just a cautionary tale of reckless romance. Romeo is a richly layered archetype, one that reveals both the incandescent beauty of first love and its potential to burn everything down. In the dim, flickering torchlight of a crypt carved from ancient stone, a young man throws open the heavy doors with the fury of a storm. He falls to his knees at the feet of love's lifeless form, strewn in eternal sleep on a rose-covered altar. A shattered vial glints beside a pale hand. As sobs rack his body, he clutches the glass, the poison within trembling like liquid moonlight. With trembling lips and a heart ablaze with devotion and despair, he drinks. His final act, not one of surrender, but of love so absolute, it will not be left behind. Romeo is the archetype of impassioned love, bold, beautiful, and blinding. He represents the youthful heart unguarded by experience, where every emotion surges like a tide, and every connection feels like destiny. Romeo's love knows no caution. It burns through the veils of logic, fear, or consequence. His energy can inspire courage, devotion, and romantic daring, but it can also cross the line into recklessness, obsession, and self-sacrifice that forgets the individual. When Romeo appears, he asks you to consider how you love. Is it brave or is it desperate? Are your feelings blooming from presence or from fear of absence? This archetype is not just about romantic love, but about how we anchor our identities in our relationships. He is the lover who dies for love, but also the boy who never learned to live without it.
Niagara Falls, up the Canadian Rockies, and then it's only a few hundred miles to Anchorage.
don't want to be kind of cold.
Well, that's the point, stupid. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an adventure.
As we've seen, the Romeo archetype is deeply nuanced, equal parts devotion, desire, and danger. In oracle readings, he mirrors not just how we love, but why, and what parts of us rise or unravel in the process. And this complexity isn't confined to the realm of myth or mysticism. The Romeo archetype is perhaps one of the most prevalent in popular culture, from video games to the superhero genre, and of course, teen drama. Today, we'll be looking at two such examples, but first, a few quick honourable mentions. Tidus from Final Fantasy X, Peter Petrelli from Heroes, and Rogue from the X-Men films, each offering a unique expression of Romeo's wounded and integrated forms. In fantasy and sci-fi depictions, it's worth noting how often the Romeo archetype is shown cut off from connection in some literal or symbolic way. Rogue and Peter Petrelli, for instance, both possess powers that isolate them. Touch becomes dangerous, intimacy becomes complicated, and love becomes something longed for but often out of reach. Tidus, ethereal, intangible, a dream-given form, can never fully stay. These genres offer space to explore Romeo's most exiled expression, the part of him that aches for love but feels unworthy, unsafe, or unable to receive it. And unless that love is first found within, unless he learns to anchor it in self-acceptance, his story almost always ends the same way, in loss, in longing, or in leaving.
I've been thinking, and I really think that we should try to take this slow.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
And when time slows and suddenly every moment counts, all you want is for this time to last forever.
Let's start by looking at how the healthy, integrated expression of Romeo shows up in a character like Nate Archibald, who is a prime example of a person who leads with empathy, not ego. His love is steady, not desperate, and while he feels deeply, he doesn't weaponize those feelings to manipulate others. We see this most clearly in how he handles rejection and tension, whether it's Serena asking to slow things down or romantic feelings that go unreturned. Nate holds space without pushing. There's no hidden agenda, no emotional bargaining. Unlike many unhealed Romeo types, Nate has no profound father wound driving him. In fact, he challenges his father's harmful behaviour, showing love doesn't mean loyalty to dysfunction. His respect for Jenny, even when she's been vulnerable, offers a quiet but powerful contrast to how others treat her. He sees her clearly and, crucially, doesn't take from her. In Nate, the Romeo archetype is still tender, still romantic, but he is also sovereign, grounded, and whole.
Problem. It's just... do you ever feel like our whole lives have been planned out for us? That we're just gonna end up like our parents?
This scene gives perhaps no clearer indication of how differently these two boys view the world they're in. As Chuck and Nate walk through the park, Nate voices a feeling many of us know, that our lives may be pre-written, shaped by the patterns of those who came before us. Nate's question highlights his ongoing journey to understand his own values, to question the legacy he's inherited, and to carve a path grounded in integrity and self-awareness. Chuck, in contrast, hides behind privilege and power. Where Nate leans into reflection, Chuck uses his wealth and influence as a shield, pushing discomfort and pain aside rather than facing it. This avoidance is rooted in deep, unresolved wounds, especially that with his estranged mother, which profoundly shapes how he connects with others, especially the female characters in the show. One of the most troubling examples of this is Chuck's early attempt to assault Jenny, a moment that reveals the darker side around his charm and power. Throughout the series, his volatile relationship with Blair reflects a romanticised yet psychologically complex and often unhealthy dynamic, one that walks a fine line between passion and control.
Chuck, aren't you done trying to destroy my night?
Look, I should never have abandoned you. I knew I made the wrong decision as soon as your plane took off. Distracted myself all summer. Hoping I wouldn't feel it, but I still do.
And?
I was scared. I was scared that if we spent the whole summer together, just us. You see.
See what?
Me.
I like Charlie Spring in a romantic way, not just a friend way. I cannot believe you're disrespecting bubblegum flavour in front of me. Right, let me try yours. Wow.
As we saw earlier with Rogue, the Romeo archetype transcends gender and sexuality, showing up wherever love, longing, and emotional vulnerability collide. One of the most quietly revolutionary portrayals of this in recent years is Heartstopper, the Netflix series that follows the gentle unfolding of queer young love between two British teens, Charlie and Nick. Through them, we witness the Romeo archetype in both its wounded and integrated forms. Charlie, raised in a home where love is present but often overwhelmed by stress or absence, struggles to voice his needs. Over time, that suppression turns inward, culminating in a battle with disordered eating as a way to manage what feels unmanageable. Nick, by contrast, is grounded in the quiet strength of a consistently loving and emotionally available mother. He knows his place in the world, or at least trusts that it's okay to not have it all figured out yet. That early, unconditional love forms the bedrock of his emotional resilience, and perhaps there's no better illustration of that than the moment he comes out to his mum.
Mum. You know Charlie's like my best friend.
If you're going to ask if you can come on our Menorca holiday this year, the answer's no, because I've already booked the ticket.
No, that's not what I was going to say. He's my boyfriend. Charlie's my boyfriend. I still like girls, but I like boys too. And me and Charlie, we're going out. And I just wanted you to know.
Oh, baby. Oh, thank you for telling me. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel like you couldn't tell me that.
This next section demonstrates how the meaning of the Romeo card might shift depending on where it's placed in an oracle spread and whether it's reversed or upright. In this first example, we see Romeo in the reverse in the past placement, followed by Raphael in the current and Asmodeus in the future. This might suggest a situation that was formative where young love was repressed or somehow wounded. And with Raphael in the current situation, it's calling for healing and restoration and emotional renewal to correct that imbalance. Once that healing is done in the future, the Asmodeus energy shows up as one who's able to engage with desire, unmask compulsion, and understands the wisdom behind their wants. In this second example, we see Chiron in the past, Romeo in the current situation, and Dionysus in the future. This might suggest a situation in the past where we've done some deep healing work, and as a result of that, in the current situation, we're finding the ability to address new love in a way that feels balanced and whole. This leads to euphoria and divine self-expression as we move into the future through the Dionysus energy. In this last example, we see Poseidon in the reverse in the past, Artemis in the current situation upright, and also Romeo in the upright position in the future. This might suggest a situation where in the past we've been unconsciously driven by desires related to wounding, and that in the current situation we're being called on to work with our unconscious mind in order to heal and integrate the anima or exiled child. As a result of this unconscious work, Romeo can flourish in his upright, healed energy in the future. From an eponymous and devastating portrayal that still echoes through pop culture, to video games, superheroes, and teen dramas, we've traced the Romeo archetype across time and genre. At its core, Romeo represents the essence of young love, fierce, yearning, idealistic, and at times heartbreakingly naive. Given from a place of insecurity or emotional hunger, this love can burn too bright, too fast, and leave ashes in its wake. But as with all the divine masculine archetypes in the Artemis Oracle deck, Romeo carries both light and shadow. This is by design because we, as humans, do too. Regardless of gender, sexuality, or any other factor of identity, we all hold the potential for both tenderness and recklessness, vulnerability and avoidance. When we take time to sit with these energies, especially the ones we've been taught to suppress or feel shame over, we loosen their grip. We begin to understand them not as flaws, but as parts of us seeking wholeness. And in that understanding, we reclaim choice. We get to meet our wounds with compassion and show up in the world not as a performance, but as something real, something true. So, whether your inner Romeo is still healing or learning to trust love again, may you meet him gently.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
You looking for Romeo? He went down the hall for a second. He'll be right back.
What?
Oh, there he is.
Through yonder window breaks.
Oh, what are you doing here, fruitcake?
It is the east and Juliet is the sun.
Hey, I've known Romeo since he's a kid. You could do a lot better. Listen to me. You could do a lot better. This guy's a stiff. I'm telling you.
Hark! I hear the sound of Juliet's parents approaching.
You look like Errol Flynn on a bad swing.
And this is why I say you both must be married. Married in heaven. Love thyself as thy love thy nature. As Rabbi Elikura said, love thyself as thy love thee, that thy know thyself like this. All you know how to do is slap me around. That's all you know how to do.
Please, Maya, die by yourself.
Die by myself, eh? I hope Eddie Murphy robs your house. Good night. We are fed up.
You've been watching Artemis Oracle and Tarot, a sacred space for healing for those on the moonlit path. Join us here on YouTube for monthly tarot readings by astrology sign and deep dives into the imagery and symbolism used in the making of our unique Artemis Oracle and Tarot decks. If having a space to work through the unpleasant but necessary parts of adulting sounds good to you, like and subscribe here on YouTube and follow us on Instagram so you never miss a beat. All links are in the description below.